data types in Python. The two main numeric Python types are integers and floats. Floats are decimal numbers. That's how they're referred to in all programming languages. The size of the integer which can be stored as an int is dependent on your platform, whether it's 32 or 64-bit. But large integers are automatically converted to long type by Python. Here, you can see that we divide two numbers. It's important to remember that if the numerator and denominator are integers, then the result will also be an integer, even if the accurate answer is a float. However, if either the numerator or denominator is a float, then the result will also be a float. So you can see that mathematical operations in Python largely depend on the data types of the numbers involved. Python has extremely powerful and flexible built-in string processing capabilities. There are multiple ways to create string objects. You can enclose them with single quotes, double quotes, or three double quotes. All three ways generate similar outputs. Python also supports the none and Boolean data types. None is the Python null value type. If a function does not explicitly return a value, it implicitly returns none. The two Boolean values in Python are written as true and false. Comparisons and other conditional expressions evaluate to either true or false. In this example, a variable is assigned a value none. To check if the assignment occurred correctly, you can use the keyword is as shown here. You can see that it returns a Boolean value, which is true in this case. Now assign an integer value to the same variable and check it again. As expected, it returns false this time. You can also typecast a number from one data type to another. For example, let's define a float as shown, and then print its data value. To cast this float value to an integer, use the int function as shown here. You can see that it generates an integer output. Similarly, to cast a float value to string, use the str function, and it will return a string output. A tuple is a one-dimensional, fixed-length, immutable sequence of Python objects. Immutable implies that its content cannot be modified. The easiest way to create a tuple is to provide a comma-separated sequence of values. In this example, a tuple is assigned a bunch of mixed comma-separated data type values enclosed within parentheses. Let's view it by referencing the tuple object. To access the tuple element at index 1, use the syntax shown here. The index usually starts from 0. If you try to modify the value at a specified index, it throws an error since a tuple is immutable. As you saw earlier, you can use the index of an element to view and access it. To access elements with the help of positive indices, count from the left starting with 0. You can also use negative indices by counting from the right starting with -1. Negative indices are useful as they help you to easily refer to elements at the end of a long tuple. You have seen how to access individual elements in a tuple. You can also access a range or slice of elements within a tuple. Slicing allows you to create a subset of the tuple. To slice a tuple, mention the indices of the first element and that of the element immediately after the last element. This is because while the first index is inclusive, the second one is not. For example, here you can see that referencing indices 1 to 4 creates a tuple subset with elements from index 1 to 3. You can also use negative indices to slice tuples as shown here. In contrast to tuples, the length of lists is variable and their contents can be modified. They can be defined using square brackets or using the list type function. Here, a list is defined using comma-separated values of mixed data types. You can view the content of the list by just referring to the list object. You can use the append method to add a value to the list. Note that this value gets added to the end of the list. You can also remove any particular item by just referring to the element value. You can see that Mark is no longer part of the list. 101 is now the first element. Use the pop method to simultaneously view and remove the value at a particular index. Similarly, use the insert method to insert a value at a particular index. Note that Smith is now included at index 1, while test, which appeared after 23.6, is not there anymore. Just like tuples, you can access elements in a list through indices. As you have learned earlier, positive indices are counted from the left, starting with 0. By providing the positive index, you can access the specified list element. Recall that negative indices are counted from the right, starting with -1. Since -2 refers to the second element from the right in the list, the value 11 is generated as the output. As you sliced tuples, you can also slice lists. Recall that to slice a tuple, the indices of the first element and the element immediately after the last element must be specified. The same is applicable to lists. You can also use negative indices to slice lists, as shown here. Dictionary is likely the most important built-in Python data structure. Dictionaries are mappings of a set of keys to a set of values. Keys are variables, and they are listed together with the values assigned to them. This forms key-value pairs. The keys can be of any immutable type, and the values can be of any type. A dictionary is a flexibly sized collection of key-value pairs, where keys and values are Python objects. You can define, modify, view, look up, and delete the key-value pairs in the dictionary. The difference between view and lookup is that view allows you to view the entire object, while lookup lets you access a particular element within the object. You can create a dictionary using colons to separate keys and values enclosed within curly brackets. In this example, the dictionary contains 3 key-value pairs separated by colons and enclosed within curly brackets. You can view the content of the dictionary, or dict, by referring to the dict object. Use the keys method to view all the keys. Similarly, use the values method to view all the values present in the dictionary. You can also access and modify individual elements in a dict. To access a value, pass the key name to the dict object. In this example, passing the name Kelly retrieves the associated value, which is the email ID. Similarly, passing ID retrieves the values associated with it. You can access only one value through the key. Use the update method to update the value for a corresponding key. Here, you can see how the values for ID are updated. You can also delete a key with the help of the delete function. You can see that the ID key and the values associated with it have been deleted from the dict. A set is an unordered collection of unique elements. You can think of them as dicts, but without values. You can create a set using either the set function or by listing all the elements within curly brackets. If you check the object's type, you can see that it shows up as a set. To view the set, type its name. Note that BMW and GM, which are mentioned twice, appear only once since a set only contains unique elements. Let's understand set operations through an example. Create 2 separate sets of auto survey. Now try to generate a combined survey report using the OR operation, which is a union operation. Note that the combined survey report does not contain any duplicate values. Use the AND operation, which is an intersection operation, to view the common elements between both sets. We can now look at some basic operators. The IN operator is used to generate a Boolean value to indicate whether a given value is present in the container or not. You can use it to verify the presence of both strings and substrings or characters. The plus operator produces a new tuple, list, or string whose value is the concatenation of its arguments. Here you can see how 2 tuples, lists, and strings are concatenated. The multiple